Hello, my name's Giles from photographyandphotoshopcourses.com, and today we're going to have a look at how to stitch together images into a panoramic inside Photoshop. So here's the image we're going to create, and we're going to go to Bridge this time, and we're going to select the image sequence. So I'm going to click on the first one, scroll down and shift click on the last one, and then I'm going to go to Tools, Photoshop, Photo Merge. This will load the images into Photoshop and we'll see a new dialog box, and then we're going to choose Auto. Here's the list of images, blend images together, and then we're going to tick Geometric Distortion Correction, and then we're going to click OK. Now, depending on how high res your images are, this can take some time, so this is a good point to go and take a cup of tea. These are low res, so hopefully it won't take too long. And you can see already it's loaded up the images into the layers and it's now aligning them. So whilst that's doing its thing, I'm going to talk to you about setting up. So first thing to do is to ideally you want to shoot in the vertical orientation as opposed to landscape orientation. That'll give you a lot more room to work with top and bottom in terms of cropping. If you want to shoot without a tripod, that will work, but if you have a tripod, that's much better. And in addition to that, I would recommend using a spirit level to make sure things are level when you're moving the camera around. Also, if you have manual options on your camera, so manual metering, manual focus, I recommend switching those on. That'll obviously prevent any variations when panning around. You'll also notice, depending on how wide angle your lens is, you'll get more or less distortion. There's a fair amount of distortion. You can see this bending here because it's quite a wide angle lens. To minimize that, I would recommend using a standard focal length, for example 50mm for a 35mm DSLR. So all the images are now stitched, and you can see each one is made up of various pieces, and we've got masks here to mask out the bits that are needed and not needed. So we're just going to go to Layer, Flatten Image, and we're going to go to Crop, see the Crop tool, and then we're just going to draw a line to crop. And I'm going to leave a little bit here just to show you an option where we can either clone that or fill it. So we're just going to tick that, and let's go in and quickly clone this. So I'm going to zoom in, click on the Z for zoom tool, or you can hold down Control or Command and spacebar, and then hold down the spacebar and you can pan around. And then we're going to just choose a new layer. I'm going to click over here and choose new layer, blank layer, and then we're going to go to the clone stamp tool, which is S on the keyboard, and then we're going to choose the blend mode normal and opacity 100%. If you're on a new layer like this, sample current and below, hold down the Alt key, click to select the sample you're cloning from, and then just paint over like so. Hold down Control 0 to zoom out again, and there you have it. A couple of extra options if you want to take this further. I recommend going for a panoramic head. This one's a Nodal Ninja 5. Essentially it's a fancy L-shaped bracket with a rotating point on the bottom. What this enables you to do is mount the camera on this slider here, and you basically rotate the camera on the back of the glass of the lens rather than rotating on the back of the camera per se. What that'll do is give you much better alignment, particularly if your subject matter is very close and far away. So when I say that, perhaps you have some interest in the foreground like a fence and additional building in the background, perhaps without the panoramic head and the alignment, you will find that there might be some what's called parallax errors on the fence in the foreground. So generally speaking, if it's far away, you'll have less problems. Other useful things to have, is the spirit level to get things level in the first place. You can also see here you've got various settings here, degree settings, which you can set up, and you've got the full 360 mark out here. So if you want to do a 360 panoramic, you can then work out your degrees and the amount of overlap you want to give your images. I recommend overlapping between 30 and 50%. 30 is probably more than adequate. This will give Photoshop something to work with when aligning everything. And then last but not least, obviously manual settings. If you wanted to take things even further, you could do some bracketing in terms of shutter speed, so keep the aperture the same, and then for each image you could bracket. This will give you potential to produce an HDR version of this and then stitch it together. One piece of software I'd recommend is PTGUI stitching software, which is very good if you want to take things even further, because that'll combine the HDR and the stitching in one. Photoshop does a good job of either or, but it's a bit more cumbersome when it comes to using both of those at the same time. So hope you've enjoyed this tutorial, and don't forget to check out some more on Photoshop and photographycourses.com, and I'll see you again soon. Okay.